Hi viewers, welcome back to another very interesting episode of Carnatic Music. Everybody is invited, season 2. We are discussing Ragamalika. So over the last 2 episodes, I have introduced 3 Ragamalikas to you. The beauty of a Ragamalika is that every raga is the same as the previous one. So it is like the same portions of, same sized portions of different ragas. All that was fine when it was a Kriti. What if a Varnam is a Ragamalika? In Kriti, I introduced you to so many formats of Kritis. So, Kriti is actually, such a free-flowing format that it was perfectly fine, even if there is no distinction between the Pallavi, Charanam concept, even though technically we say the opening line is the Pallavi, every line is structurally the same. That was fine in a Kriti. Now, what happens if one has to create a Ragamalika in a Varnam? Remember Varnam? Tana Varnam, Pada Varnam. We did it in the first season and I told you how, Varnam has to adhere to the format. There it has Pallavi, Anupallavi, then Chittaswaram, Charanam, Charanaswaram. The format was very rigid, right? You remember that. So what happens if a composer wants to give us a Ragamalika in the format of a Varnam? Then obviously he has to or she has to stick to that formula. So now let us see how that works. Patnam Subramania Iyer has given us a very beautiful Navaragamalika Varnam, and this Varnam is like an iconic Varnam. It is generally taught to children after Ninukori and maybe 1 or 2 other Varnams and Hamsadvani and everything. This Navaragamalika Varnam is definitely taught. Valajivachi. Now let me just show you its structure. Let's take a look. Pallavi, Anupallavi, and then Chittaswaram. Actually, only 3 segments. Then we have Charanam and then Charanaswaram. So now what the composer has done? The entire Pallavi, he gives it to us in Kedara. Raga 1 taken care. The entire Anupallavi, he gives it to us in Shankarabharanam. So second raga taken care. Now in Chittaswaram, he has done a very interesting thing. He has divided the Chittaswaram into 2 parts. The first part, he has set it in Kalyani. The second part, he has set it in Begada. So what happens now in this segment itself, 2 ragas get introduced. So even as the first half is done, you have 1, 2, 3 and 4 ragas, right? So now this is done, first half is done. What is it I told you about Varnam? Varnam is a composition which is divided into 2 segments. 2 segments which are distinct from each other, but they are still part of the same whole. So once the first part is done, we don't revisit the Pallavi and then we start from the Charanam. Remember? Okay. So then starts the Charanam. Now Charanam, he has given it to us in Kambodhi. So every time, what did I tell you in one of the earlier episodes? Every Swaram, we sing the Swaram and then we revisit the Charanam. We don't go back to the Pallavi. That is the main difference between a Varnam and a Kriti, right? So what happens is, now there are 4 Swarams and he has used 4 ragas for that. So Yadukula Kambodhi, Bilahari, Mohanam and Sri Ragam. Sri Ragam seems to be everybody's favorite. Sri Ragam seems to be featuring everywhere. Okay, now just see. So we have Kambodhi and then Yadukula Kambodhi, the first Swaram, and then we go back and sing the Charanam in Kambodhi. And then the second Swaram in Bilahari, and then we go back to Kambodhi. And then the third Swaram in Mohanam, and then we go back to Kambodhi. Fourth Swaram, and then we go back to Kambodhi. Now this is the one distinction. If you see when it was the Kritis, we were just moving raga after raga. And after all the ragas, if it was Dashavataram, after all the 10 ragas, and then we just sing the Pallavi and wind up. If it was a Shatraga Malika, there also it was the same thing. And then it was that Navaraga Malika by, Chinna Krishna Dasar, which was Amba Ninnu Nera Namiti. Then also it was the 9 ragas and then we get back to the Pallavi. But here, what happens is, because this Ragamalika is a Varnam and it has to be in the format of a Varnam, after each of these ragas, we go back to the Charana, right? So it's clear. So I kind of like this interesting twist where the Chittaswaram, which is actually one segment, has been given to us in 2 ragas. Thereby the composer has very beautifully managed to incorporate 9 ragas in this varnam, giving us a Navaragamalika varnam. Now let us see how it goes. Balachi Vachi Yona Pai Balachi Vachi Yona Pai Chala Museya Mera Sami. Now this is the Pallavi in the first raga. Next, we start the Anupallavi. Chelu Daina Shri Venkatesha Chelu Daina Shri Venkatesha Kala Si Mela Si Kau Galimsa. Anupallavi, second raga, over. Now we start the Chittaswaram, the first raga, Kalyani. Dani sari ga ma da pa ma ga re ne re ne dani sari ga ma pa dani sari ga ma da pa ma ga re ne dani sari ga ma pa da ma ga re sa dani sa re ga ma pa da ni pa da ma pa da ni sa. Kalyani over. Ni da pa ma ga re ga da ma ga re sa ni da pa sa ni re sa ga re pa ma da pa sa ni re sa ga re ga ma re sa ni re sa re ni da pa ma ga re sa ma ga re sa ni valachi. Back to Kedaram. Valachi. First half over, 4 ragas over. Now, where are we? We are going to start the Charanam. Padasaro Jaya Moolanam Mite Padasaro Jaya Moolanam Mite. If you see, Padasa is Swaraksharam. You know Swaraksharam. I have introduced you to Swaraksharam. I think it was in the, again another Kambodi Kriti, no? Anandame Paramanandame. Where, this Padimadiyum Prabhakara Vadivil, I remember I spoke to you about it in the first season. See the same Swaraksharam and surprisingly in the same Kambodi. Padasa is like the soul of Kambodi, and so beautifully the composer has, if you see the notation for that, it will be Padasa sa nida pa. That he has used it as Padasaro Jaya Moolanam Miti Pa Ma Ga Re Sa Pa Da Sa Re Ma Pa Da Sa. So this charanam is in what ragam? Yedukula Kambodi. Remember? I think I should have brought the chart sometime in between to refresh your memory. See? This is where we are now. So after Kambodi, now we have finished the first swaram. Now we'll go to the second swaram. Pada pa ma ga re ga da pa ma ga re sa ni da pa da sa re ga pa ma ga re sa re ga pa ma ga re ga pa da sa re ga pa da sa sari ga pa da sa da sari ga pa ma ga ri ga pa da sa ro jaya moolanam niti. Two swarams over. Now we go to the third. So what is the third one? This is in Mohanam, our eighth raga. Pa da pa ga re ga da pa ga re ga pa ga re sa re sa re sa da sa re ga pa da sa da pa ga re sa da pa ga re ga pa da sa re ga re sa da pa da sa da pa ga re ga pa da sa. As a kid, when it used to go sa re ga pa, that was so exciting, It's like, when you learn veena, that is like one extra punch you give. I have also had the great opportunity of learning veena for a while. So when you sing it as sa re ga pa da sa ro jaya moolanam niti. Now we come to the ninth and the concluding swara. Pa pa ma re ga re sa ni sa ga re sa ni pa ni sa re ma pa ma re ga re sa ni sa re ma pa ni pa sa ni pa ma re ga re sa pa ni sa re ni sa re ga re sa ni ga re ga sa ni sa pa ni sa re ni ga re sa ni sa ni pa da ni pa ma re ga re sa ni pa ma pa da sa ro jaya moolanam niti pada sa. Singing this varnam brings back so many childhood memories of all those years spent in perfecting not just this varnam, with so many other varnams as well. And it was such a joyous experience talking to you about this varnam, breaking down, this entire varnam into its format, so that the next time you can hear it, you will be able to correlate and appreciate this very beautiful song so much better. You were watching Carnatic Music. Everybody is invited, season 2. And in the next episode, one more great and beautiful Ragamalika waiting for you.